Hello, everybody. Dee Dee Russell here, your favorite wedding nerd with WeddingVenueOwners.com. We are sharing wedding venue stories from incredible wedding venues all over the country, all over the world. And today we are with Jacob Crowley of Crowley's Tree Farm. And we're going to get to learn all about Jacob, all about the wedding venue that he manages, and, you know, maybe ask a little bit about that yellow sign back there and get some free CPA advice. But that's a second video. Good morning, Jacob. How are you?
Good morning, Dee Dee. Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excited too. Every single venue owner is so unique and so amazing and has so many fun things. So I have to remind myself to shut up and stop being nerdy and let you talk, because that's why we're here. You know, we got to focus. Yeah. Focus, Dee Dee. We're here for you and your story, not for me to get nerdy about it. Although I promise I will, because I'm excited. Well, a tree farm. So tell me a little bit before I go on and on. Tell me a little bit about Crowley's Tree Farm and how it got started. And I did notice a date on your website that intrigued me. It said something about took over in 2021.
Yep. So we're
that's rather recent.
Yeah. Yeah. So we closed on the property in May. It has been a wedding venue in the past.
Okay.
And it has been a fully functioning tree farm for the last 45 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. So my brothers and I grew up in Wadsworth, Ohio, which is about an hour south of Cleveland. We grew up occasionally going to this tree farm to get our Christmas trees, which is kind of cool. And the previous owners retired, and we reached out to them, and we made the purchase. So we are a brand new, fully operational tree farm. We have about 5,000 Christmas trees, ranging from 2 inches tall to about 5 feet tall. So we're getting there. We should have trees ready in about 2 years to sell for Christmas time, which is really exciting. And
so are you a Christmas tree farming expert? Do you have, other than enjoying them as a kid and going there? I mean, what's the thought process? Could I be there on the day that you pitched this to your brothers? Like, who brought this up?
So we all kind of we occasionally would share properties in the area and say, hey, let's go in and buy this. And then we found out that the former owners of the tree farm were retired and maybe interested in selling. And we said, well, if we can make a little profit and have some land to have some fun and grow up with all our kids, and, you know, it'd be a blast. So that's kind of was the initial thought. And then we thought, well, we can make a sizable business with this, selling both, you know, Christmas trees and doing weddings, events, things like that. So that's kind of the thought process that went through everything. And no, none of us are tree experts by any means. We're getting there. We're learning a lot. But it's been a really cool experience. I could tell you a lot about Canadian fir Christmas trees.
Well, I have to do a follow-up around too, and focus on that niche market, which hello, all of you tree enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So could you walk me through briefly, because I'm sure this was probably not a brief process. What does it look like when you are trying to purchase a property that you are going to use for I'm assuming agritourism, agriculture, some definition along those terms, and yep. 2, for a wedding/event business? What does it look like when you're trying to purchase?
Yeah, that's a great question, because our land is zoned agriculture. So in most states, that requires that the majority of your revenue come from agriculture revenue to stay at that tax exempt level.
Is there a percentage?
It has to be 51%.
Okay.
But depending on your township can give you what's called a use variance, saying we know that you're zoned agriculture, and we know that your revenue you might not hit that 51% mark with your revenue in terms of your ag revenue, but we'll let you do events or let you do, you know, concerts, weddings, whatever you want, and stay out of that tax exempt level. So we went to our Wadsworth Township, and they were super excited to see the farm was going to be operational again. So they're allowing us to host events until our Christmas trees are ready to sell, hopefully in 2023, maybe 2024.
When you decided to start the process to close, how long did that take?
It took a little longer than we thought. We did not use any realtors, which maybe took a little more time. but saved us a little bit of money in closing costs and things like that. We started the process in late December around Christmas time. Had a little bit of negotiations, things like that, and we closed May 21st, I think, was our close date.
Did you feel the need to get a lawyer involved just to make sure that your investment, I mean, and that's probably not as relative to you as somebody that might be buying near an HOA or buying near a residential area. You have 32 acres, so maybe that wasn't as much a concern. And the owners had also been doing weddings already, so you knew that there wasn't a problem. But in that process, is there a night you wake up at 2 a.m. going, oh my gosh, what if there had been a lot of complaints about noise, or what if he said,
Yes, lots of those.
Yeah.
Which one thing that is nice is that the former owner still lives right next to the property. So he knows what we're doing, and the Ricardis, the former owners, have been exceptional in both helping us with the weddings and also teaching us about Christmas trees, because he ran the Christmas tree farm for over 40 years. And yeah, they've been great. So they're pretty understanding, and they're a really nice resource to have 20 feet away from our property, which has been great.
They're not coming over to complain about the weddings, I'm guessing.
No, not yet at least.
So how many weddings were booked for 2021? Because you took over officially, I think you said in May. So how many weddings were on the books, and what is the process for a business selling when they have weddings on the books? How was that managed in your process?
So we had no weddings.
Okay.
Because the former owners had retired, and they retired from both the tree farm and the wedding business. So they stopped doing weddings, I think, in 2019.
Okay.
So we had a lot of interest as soon as people heard that, hey, the Crowley family bought the old Ricardis tree farm. And so we thought originally that we would have 1 or 2 weddings this year, kind of late notice, and we are pretty booked for the fall.
Like, how booked is pretty, but how many weddings do you guys have? And did you just did you start doing your tours and meeting like somewhere in May, like that you started to process inquiries? And
well, no, not necessarily. Really in June. It's been about 4 weeks, because we had to go through the process of meeting with the township and, doing all that and getting the okay from them. I think we've booked 12 weddings already and have 3 or 4 other events like grad parties, anniversaries, things like that.
What do you attribute that to? Do you feel like that is the word of mouth that was generated over years and years, and love and affection for this business, and that you really, part of what you bought was that incredible value? Or what do you attribute that to?
I think the goodwill of the name has a lot to do with it. I think also we've done a really good job of managing. I think we were all a little overwhelmed at first with how do we manage our inquiries? How do we manage our tours? And I think we've done a great job of figuring that out. And truthfully, I think social media has just been a huge advantage. And I think it is for every venue owner, right? I think that's the easiest, cheapest, and best way to advertise in a lot of ways. So we've been, involved in Facebook groups, things like that. And just word of mouth. So I own it with my brothers and our wives. So it is a family affair, which is nice. And so we all have a lot of connections in Northeast Ohio, and I think that's coming to fruition through this.
So I noticed that you have lovely branding on your Facebook page. I did keep that out, of course. And you've got gorgeous images already. Where did these images come from? And tell me a little bit about the process of branding.
Yeah. So we reached out to a lot of photographers that have done weddings there in the past and just asked like, hey, can we, we'll tag you, obviously, give you credit. Can we use some of your photographs? And everyone was like, oh, absolutely. And, we got we're so excited to see that the venue is open again. And we actually had a family member, our cousin was also married there in 2017 or 18. So we've been to weddings there before. So we have pictures from that as well. So all the pictures we have currently are from previous weddings in years past.
Talk about additional value that you got from this purchase. I mean, weddings, reaching out to the photographers. Photographers are one of my favorite human beings on the planet. First of all, they're incredibly creative. They build our city's tourism and excitement. They tell the city's story and the culture and all of the beautiful things about a city, and combine that with weddings. And then they take thousands and thousands of pictures that make the venue look the best it can possibly be.
Right.
What is not to love? And even when I reach out to a photographer and say, hey, listen, I'm going to, post something about, say, Crowley Farm, and could I use some of your images? They are always so grateful that A, you asked, B, you understand that you need to give them credit. Whether you're posting on Instagram, your website, or wherever it is, that you're always knowing exactly what their Instagram tag is, what their Facebook page is, because some of them look similar. So you got the right ones tagged with the right thing, and they will love you up so much and give you that. But you got incredible value with this purchase too. This is really something for our venue owners to think about if they're in the process of thinking about purchasing or increasing their properties. Something like this that had a great reputation, that had weddings booked up there already, and you can go back and get those photos. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was really smart. And it's been great for brides to see, like, hey, this is how you can set up the barn, or this is how it can look, or how our backyard, can look. Things like that has been great.
So tell me a little bit about your logo and your website, because those things you had to develop and start as well.
Yeah. So we use the Wix platform to develop our website, which is very cost-friendly and very user-friendly in terms of designing your website. We did it all ourselves. My sister-in-law did the website, and I think she did an amazing job for having no website development experience.
It looks great.
Yeah, thanks. And with that, with the Wix platform, we manage all of our inquiries, we manage our bookings. Everything is through Wix, which has been, a one-stop shop, other than like our accounting and finance, which has been great.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that if you have a website created, you still have to take care of hosting.
Right.
So if you're going to get a hosting company and you're going to pay that monthly,
right,
with a contract or whatever you do, and then your website fee that somebody did. So yeah, a lot of professionals will tie those all in together, and I definitely endorse and support our professionals that do those, if you need a bigger platform. But I love the fact that this is something you could do on your own. And how long did it take for the website to get done?
I would say maybe 10 hours total.
You're going to say like 2 or 3 weeks. I felt mine took a couple of months.
10 hours of like constant work, going back and forth and tweaking.
Right. Yeah. Log off, run away from it, stop freaking out, go back, check it out again. I used GoDaddy for my website, and it was perfectly great. And and I don't know if Wix does the same, but I'm assuming that Wix also has kind of a backup plan, which is if you get stuck anywhere, if you mess anything up on your template, that you can pay $50, $75, whatever, and they give you like tickets. So you can do 3 things. Like I think of it as like the 3 things. With GoDaddy, it's like $75. So I can pay that and then ask them to do 3 things on my website. Can you add a page? Can you fix this thing? I did the wrong coding, whatever it is. And that's like your easy backup plan if you're doing it yourself.
Yeah. And Wix has some great customer support. If you reach out to them, they always got back to us really quickly.
So how about your logo?
So our logo was designed by a local student who is really interested in design. His name's Alex Miller. He did probably 10 renditions before we decided the one we liked, and he was great. So he's trying to start a little design business, and he's local. He lives in our town, which is cool to kind of support local. And he gave us a ton of different, we have our base logo, then we have our social media logos, and we have different, we have logos for everything now, which has been nice.
And we're going to shout him out here. I'm going to put the logo up and put his information, and you'll send me his info, because I'm always down to support someone local, especially. But I think one thing people don't realize is that you need, transparent background. You need, different size logos. Something for your website might need to be sharper and cleaner. Something for your social medias might not need to be as large of a format or file. So we'll do a little shout out for him in this segment.
Love that.
Okay, so what is it like to manage 32 acres?
A lot. It is a lot. No, it's been fun. the biggest, we planted about 4,000 Christmas trees this spring. As we were going through the closing process, the former owner said, hey, if you want to plant, you need to plant now.
So they let you do the planting while you were still in the process of closing.
Yes.
How'd you feel about that? At
times it was a little nerve-wracking because it was like we have no power to negotiate anymore, right? Because we just spent hours and hours and hours and thousands of dollars planting Christmas trees on not our property. But it all worked out great, which was the best thing that could happen. But that was a lot. And now it's really just mowing and, cleaning the barn. And we had to, because the barn is a barn. We keep our tractor in there. We keep our mowers in there. So keeping that ready for showings and things like that has been a lot of work, but fun.
So let's walk through your screening process. So screening always starts with the website and the social medias. People are searching, they of course Google, and then they find you, or they are scrolling through Facebook and social media, Instagram, and they find you there and they reach out. So what does the screening process look like for you? Are they getting pricing up front? Are you, holding back on that? What does it look like from the time an inquiry comes in as you process that and get to a tour?
Yeah. So another nice thing about Wix is that you can attach all your social media platforms to it. So if someone messages our Facebook page or Instagram or anything, it goes through the Wix platform. So we're making sure that none of our inquiries are getting lost and out there. So like most people probably know, the first question is price. So we generally share that price, and then we do tours 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay. And we allow, if that doesn't work for someone, we're obviously flexible with that. So we go through, list our price. We don't list our price online. And that's something that I found, we all kind of agreed that most venues do not do that.
Okay.
So we didn't. And I think that's worked out pretty well.
But you're utilizing that prior to them even coming out. They're not showing up and figuring out what the price is. You're using that as a screening method, but you're waiting for them to, are you waiting for them to start the email process with you, or to start the phone call process before when is pricing introduced?
Really, it's usually the first thing. Bride and grooms want to know, do you have this date available and what's your price? So that's usually the first, kind of screening thing that we go through. And then from there, we're booking tours for almost everyone that is okay with our price point, and which has been a lot of fun.
So how many tours have you done in your long stretch as an official business owner?
I have no idea. Probably 80 in the last.
Oh my gosh. And so what is your conversion like?
We're about 18%.
Okay.
Which that's something we're all kind of researching on what should our conversion rate be? And I was actually reading one of your articles about about finding like why someone doesn't book us. Is it the price? Is it location? Is it, what is driving that?
Right.
And how can we fix it? So we're new, so we don't know what we don't know. So as we continue to go through this, we're going to monitor and kind of identify or try to identify, how to get that conversion rate up a little bit.
80 is pretty exciting. I mean, they're finding you. So that lets you know that your window and your door are wide open. The faucet is on full blast. And it is an evolutionary process. There's never a time when you get to sit still, I think, as a business owner and just coast the wave. I mean, what a brilliant dream that is, but there's always tweaking and changing and evolving and looking at the next level and raising prices and changing terms and reducing so that you're loving what you do. There's a point when you're doing too much. Initially, I can see that 80 tours would be so incredibly exciting. But I would love to do the program with you. I don't know if you saw it, the little, where we offer $25 and just see if even 10 or 15, we don't send the whole list, but just starting with 10 people, because I never tell them who started the inquiry process. I just let them know that small business, and as a small business myself, I'm here to help them find solutions that help them improve. And usually that, and also the $25, usually that encourages them to give us some feedback, but it also tells us what other venues they toured and who they booked. And I think that's so incredibly valuable. It's hard to get that information. Some venues just ask outright and they feel like they get the direct answer. But as you can see with some of the responses that I've got from those inquiries, they were not telling that directly to the venue owner, and the venue owner wasn't getting that, or also finding out who they booked. So I think it's, it's so lovely to have that data. You're a data person. You audit things. This is just a wedding audit of sorts. You're just getting that data back. So I'd love to do that experiment with you and see if maybe on Monday or Tuesday we just reach out and just see, of 10, usually 3 or 2 to 4 will give us a response, and that is just, it's really interesting to read those.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to do that.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll set that up. And then, cool. So your logo, we already kind of did that with the website. Are people filling out a form? What are the inquiries that you're getting? Are they through all different platforms, coming everywhere? Are they calling? Are they emailing? How are couples reaching out?
I would say the biggest way, probably 85% of our inquiries are through our online form on our website.
Okay.
And then a mix of Facebook, calls, emails. But by far the biggest one is our form, which is nice because when a bride or groom fills out the form, we automatically have their name, email, phone number, and a date that they're looking for.
Right.
So automatically we know the important things, which has been great, which has been, really nice, and contacting them and all that fun stuff.
So how about contracts? You've had a few signed, obviously. Yep. So yes, have you had, first of all, how did you put your contract together?
So the prior owners actually let us use their old contract, which was a blessing in disguise.
All right, I got to interrupt right there. Anyone watching this video, when he was talking, when Jacob was talking about planting all those seeds and you threw your popcorn in the air and said, "Oh my God, that's the worst thing ever." And now we fast forward a little bit and he's getting a free contract that he can modify and change. Boom.
Yeah.
Every little seed you planted is just like adding value. This is like a miracle story. New business owner investors, do not think that this is the standard, please. This is the dream. So please, contracts, continue, Jacob.
So we got their old contract. We made some changes, obviously, and had a lawyer look over it. And we're still, truthfully, kind of tweaking it here and there.
Yeah.
But that's really all we've done.
How many pages?
9.
All right. That's right there in the middle. I think our record is somewhere around 19. We have a lot of 14 pagers. I think that after, it's a living document. It also never just settles there and collects dust. I don't know if anyone out there watching this has a perfect document you have not had to change in years, especially through COVID. The unicorn out there, if you have never had to change your contract and you've never had a problem, please reach out to me, because I want to send you an award and stalk you in video. I need to know who you are, because you are amazing. But until we find that, they're just like a living document that gets changed. And I think, especially as you travel through your first year, your first wedding season, each wedding teaches you a little bit more. So when we did our wedding venue owners working vacation in Charleston, there was a property group that was absolutely incredible to work with, Patrick Properties. They have 4 gorgeous properties there, all very different. And they let me know when somebody pushes that contract back and it's red marked, they say, "Thank you very much. I don't think we're the right venue for you. We wish you all the best." They're not budging on it. I know that takes a little time to get to that place, but I love that they did that, because there's nothing worse than sending out a contract and somebody marking it up and going, "How about these changes?"
Yeah.
Have you had any of those issues yet?
We had someone that asked about when the event had to be over, and we agreed that they could go another half hour. So we did say, like, "Hey," I wasn't by my computer, so I was like, "Hey, just cross it out, put midnight, and scan it back to me, and that's fine." Other than that, no, we haven't had anyone, try to change anything so far.
Okay. And so how many weddings did you say you have booked this fall? And when is the first wedding?
The first one is the first weekend of September. So for the next forever, we're booked this fall. And then next year, all fall is booked as well. So really the summer and the spring is what we're focused on now.
Wow, that is amazing. That is so great. And next
it's
fall
been a lot of
is
fun.
done. Like, talk about, whew.
Yeah, I think we've got like two available dates in the fall.
Are you doing, is it couple getting the full weekend? What are your offerings?
Yeah, so we do the venue, the couples, excuse me, get the venue from 8 a.m. on Friday until noon on Sunday.
So one wedding a weekend.
One wedding a weekend, yep. So we all have full-time jobs, and we figured it to give our clients the best service, it would be unfair, maybe not unfair, but a lot more work on our part to do multiple weddings in a weekend. And our property, we don't include tables and chairs. We don't include decorations. We have lights hang up in the barn, things like small decorations like that. But we think having all day Friday gives the couples so much more time and to relax and decorate and enjoy the process. So that was kind of our thought in doing that, which a lot of couples have loved. So Absolutely. You can do your rehearsal dinner out there. Some couples are hosting brunch with their family and opening presents on Sunday morning, kind of endless opportunities, really.
It does leave for a lot of flexibility. And I like that you brought up the tables and chairs and linens. I'm adding that in. Yep. I think there's a lot of nervous anxiety about, should I rush right out and get all the tables and chairs? I just spoke to a venue owner who inherited a property from her parents passing, and the stress of, do we buy these linens? Do we buy this? Do we buy that? I like to equate it, all roads come back to me, Jacob. It's always about me at the end. So I like my stories. Here they go. Mute me out if you're sick of hearing me talk. But I went keto about 4 years ago. I've got 6 kids, so I had like 30 extra pounds. And the mistake that I made was that I went out and bought every crazy, Whole Foods and all the, $500 bag of, whatever flour that has no carbs. I used 0 of it. Literally, you just eat meat and vegetables and dairy and stay away from sugar and you're fine. I needed none of it. And I made peanut butter cookies once that were the most disgusting. They're bad when your sugar addicted children will not even touch it. It was, not all the peanut butter on the face of the earth could not have saved these cookies. So I equate that very much to the anxiety that some people feel when they are investing in a new property, when they're starting their wedding venue, even when they're trying to, evaluate other venues and be comparable. And they're thinking, I really have to have the tables and chairs. This could be thousands of dollars of investment that you may or may not need. I think that some couples may pass on a venue if tables and chairs aren't included, or think that they get a better value from someone else. But I think the smarter couples are really looking at what those packages are and what they mean for them. And if they didn't want those basic chairs anyway, if they didn't want, I have one venue in Fredericksburg and they still have that plastic Home Depot patio furniture because they're on the river. And if you don't like it and you can't cover it up, you get your rentals.
Yeah.
So having those options and flexibility. Annie's Acres in Nashville, I love to reference her all the time. She is very budget friendly. It's a passion of hers to provide a budget friendly option people are proud of. And she only does about 14 weddings a year, no tables, no chairs, blank canvas. You come in and do what you do. And for some venue owners, that's the peace of mind for them. They're not having to then set up 10 different ways and do room layouts and all this other stuff that they don't want to get involved in.
Right, exactly. And that was one of our thoughts. And I think eventually we will get into buying tables and chairs, but it's not a necessity. There are so many vendors that offer tables and chairs for truthfully a pretty decent price.
Well, let's talk about your vendors. So what is your philosophy on vendor relationships?
So I've kind of led that process of reaching out to vendors and trying to get some sort of agreements in place. And it's been a lot of fun. But we don't have a kitchen. Okay. So food, alcohol, tables and chairs discounts, which is also a huge advantage, especially for tables and chairs. If you say like, hey, look, you're going to get a 25% discount on top of, your rentals for your tables and chairs, only if you book with us though. and it's kind of a, you know, it makes brides and grooms feel a little bit better. But then we have, you know, we require a fully insured bartending service or company because we do not have a liquor license. So to keep our premiums down and to keep our property safe, we do require fully insured, you know, liquor liability companies, and we've had those companies are reaching out to us, which has been great, you know, saying like, hey, we've done events at your venue in the past, and we're so happy to see it open again. Can you please, you know, recommend us and all that fun stuff? So it's been a lot of fun, and I've loved working with vendors and tasting some food every once in a while. And
there we go. Gonna need to taste that cupcake. Gonna have to taste it first.
Exactly.
That's the hard part. So right. How do you have a set list of caterers that you trust and that you know are going to be like do you ask the couples, do you have any vendors that are kind of required, meaning the day of coordinator or coordination, or that's provided, you don't require coordination? Do you require certain caterers? Because I know that caterers, so as a former catering and events director, I know that caterers can completely destroy an event or make it amazing. So the catering relationship is a big one to figure out and to manage in the way that suits your venue the best, obviously.
Yeah. So we don't require day of coordinator. We do suggest it. And one of us will be at every single wedding all day. So we are the person that can help people park or run and get ice or, you know, whatever, help set up tables. We are that person. And it's not to the extent that a day of coordinator would be, but we're a day of coordinator light, as we call it. So we'll help, you know, get your vendors set up, things like that.
I can tell you they'll never hear that light part. I'm just gonna also, as someone who has had to run out and get ice many, many times to every 7-Eleven and on the July hot day, I've had train like a joke, like the universe is laughing at me. I'm rushing out. Oh, no big deal. I'll just go get this ice. The train is literally coming. It's 17 miles long. I'm sitting there behind the train. All the ice is taken. Just a little plug here for event planners. I'm sure you've read some of the horror stories through the Wedding Venue Owners and Managers community group on Facebook that we run. But I can tell you, as you start this process and you navigate, you learn what works best for you, and every venue is so unique and different. I love the option of the planner or having the here's our 3 that we recommend, or whatever the phrasing is, because when it comes to a couple's poor planning or a couple's desire to save money on certain aspects and reduce the quality of the experience for their guests based on budget anxiety, it happens all the time. Usually there are a few finger points at the venue or whomever else. So if they cut costs on catering and then they kind of don't want to admit it later, or someone's complaining, it's, you know, the caterer kind of getting thrown under the bus. Or if there are certain elements they didn't want to do I've had people recently, as a few days ago, just tell me that one couple didn't want chairs for everybody. Everybody doesn't sit down anyway. You know, Bubba with the bridge in Nashville said something that I love. I'm going to get this tattoo later this summer. We're all going to get it. It's a thing. He never allows a couple's poor planning choices to reduce the experience of the guests. And so as you navigate and you go along, the easiest solution, and this is just my opinion, I hope other people will comment a million comments and show me the light of all the other ways that you could do this, but the easiest solution is those incredible professionals that take those burdens off and all those little things that I forgot to plan because I was busy or hectic or I didn't think about it or I thought I could do it that day. I even get stressed from planning a 6-year-old's party. You know, so imagine the stress level on a wedding when now you realized I had 10 things I was supposed to do and I can't get to them. Now I'm stressed. Now I'm freaking out. Now I'm getting angry at other people and the stress level is increasing and we're panicking. And here's the venue. I'll throw some blame over there, or here's the caterer, a little blame over there. So just a little something to think about. You know, some venues never, ever need it and it's fine. But I have to say, wedding planners are horrible or amazing.
Yeah.
At probably a 70-30% rate. 30% are the best human beings you could ever come across. Incredibly organized, incredibly knowledgeable, experienced. They've done corporate, they've done weddings. They love it and they live for it. And they will give bad news to the couple. And just like when you're doing your CPA work and you have to give some straight up news, you do that. They will do that for the couple and steer the couple in the right direction. The other 70% watch a lot of I Said Yes to the Dress and their cousin's wedding, and boom, their wedding planner. Those will make your life miserable. So,
right, yeah, and we're dealing with that a little bit, and we realize that every wedding is a great marketing opportunity for us.
Yes,
right. I mean, that's the best marketing there is someone going there and saying, "Oh, I want to get married here."
150 people.
Right. Yeah. So we're slowly like learning and figuring out who the vendors that we want are.
Yeah.
But we want to allow, our brides and grooms to do what they want and do what makes them happy to some extent. Right.
Right.
But yeah, we're interested to see and continue learning and dealing with vendors.
I think one of the best things about connecting with you, Jacob, and your family is to see this process starting and to see the evolution that you go through in the first year. I think that's absolutely so incredible and so valuable. Again, every venue is so different, but what you experience this first year is like your master's degree in wedding experience and wedding, mastering the whole, there's no Bible for weddings, there's no, there really can't be, because what works for you will not work for the guy up the road just a mile.
Exactly.
Add a few different elements to someone's venue and you have a whole different ball game. So It's incredible to get the information directly from venue owners like you and your team, your whole, the family scenario.
Yeah.
Just following along is going to be brilliant this year because you're going to experience so much.
Yeah. Yeah. We're really excited to start, we have a grad party next weekend, and that is our first official, my daughter's first birthday party was there a couple of weeks ago. So that was our first official event, but next weekend is our first official event. So we're excited to see, and see how it goes.
So how many people are coming to this first event?
We think about 80.
80?
Yeah. And it's a high school graduation party. So nothing huge, but still, a cool event. And it's a family friend, which is also fun.
Oh. Those are always fun. Yeah. So you'll keep us posted on those. But so what does your deposit structure look like? How have you decided to manage that?
So we require a $1,000 deposit at the time you sign the contract. And then we require the remaining balance due 6 months out. If you book more than a year out, we require the remaining balance 6 months out.
Okay.
And again, we're flexible. So if someone says like, hey, can I do 2,000 6 months out and the remaining 3 months out or whatever, we'll put that in the contract and write it up. So we've done that a couple of times. For the ones that we've done this year that we, we're 3 months out when we booked them, we're saying 30 days for the remaining balance.
Do you require the couples to get insurance?
We do. Yep. So we require them to take out an event insurance policy that also covers liquor liability. And that ranges from $100 to $120 people, or $100 to $120, depending on how many people and weirdly the timing of the event.
Okay. So if so you have that, and then the deposits, do you have a non-refundable element to the deposits? What's your policy with that?
We do. So it is fully non-refundable.
The initial deposit.
Unless you are more than a year out. So, or unless you're more than a year out. So if someone is booking for September of 2022 and we get their deposit tomorrow, and then next week they say, hey, we're canceling on you, that's refundable. Once you get under a year, it is non-refundable. But what we do allow the brides and grooms to do is sell their dates. If they can find someone to replace them, then they can transfer their contract to another couple.
Okay. How have you have you had a clause in there about the photographers or photography or getting photography from the weddings? Do you have any things in your contract about that?
In terms of us using their pictures? Yes. So we asked very clearly if we can use their pictures, and, you know, any pictures that we take, and also pictures that their photographer takes. And we have not had a bride say no yet. So.
Okay. Do you have information in there about damage deposit?
Yes. So we also require a damage deposit at the time you sign the contract. That is $500. We do not cash their check until, hopefully never, but until after the event, we do a final walkthrough with them, and then we hand them back their check or shred it in front of them, whichever they prefer.
Okay. And then as far as parking and setup, you said that you guys are going to handle that for right now.
Yep.
And you have your first experience with that next week.
Yep.
So what is the process? How early can guests arrive? And then what's that process for parking?
So the barn is on a farm. We have no parking lot. We have a designated area in front of the barn that is flat and doesn't flood and is shortcut grass. That is where you park. So you can park there as whenever you want. You know, the bride, we have no restrictions on getting there early or getting there late or, you know, whatever. But we're very clear, you know, when we're doing tours, like, hey, this is the parking area. So no tents, no, you know, backyard games, nothing up here. Put that all behind the barn.
Okay. So if the guests have it for the entire weekend, what is your cleanup policy?
So for the night of the event, we ask that all food and drink is out of our barn and in our dumpster. Then Sunday morning can be used to clean up decorations, things like that.
So you do have a dumpster?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I, as a catering executive in the past, have had to load up many sloshy, half-drank cocktails and gross food in the bags and throw that back in with my equipment and take it out. I mean, I'm in the DC market. A lot of them are like, you're not using our dumpster. This is prime real estate in our dumpsters. Yeah. You get that. And don't use our sink either. None of that. Get it out of here. So those sloshy, disgusting bags that is, you know, that's the part where you really have to love events, because people don't see all that hard work behind the scenes. Yeah. But so I want to ask a little bit about the Christmas tree part, because you planted the seeds already. Do you have to plant seeds every single year? Does that impact, and you have 32 acres, so I'm assuming there's a lot of space to spread out for events and things, but how does that impact the wedding business? And then when you have the holiday, do you have anyone that's inquired about a holiday wedding around that time, like to utilize that?
Yeah, we have. And unfortunately, we have to turn them down because we have to do a full flip of the barn. So we have really nice maple floors, and we put plywood down. We kind of transform it back into a barn at that point. And because we do have a lot of space, there's been no concern about like, oh, our Christmas tree is going to take over the property. But we'll plant every year about 2,000 Christmas trees. And those trees take about 7 years to get fully sized.
Oh, wow.
So when we plant them, they're about 12 to 18 inches tall, and they grow about a foot a year, roughly. So, and then another cool thing that we're offering our brides and grooms is as a unity thing for their ceremony. You know, some people like tie a knot, some people like pour wine in a glass, you know, there's a bunch of different unity things. Light the candle.
Right.
We'll dig up a seedling and you plant it together, and then you can take it to your house and plant your own Christmas tree.
Oh, I love that. Everything you need is their unique thing. I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. I forgot to ask you about the barn itself. How old is the barn? And it's 3,600 square feet?
Yeah, it's 3,600 square feet on the main floor. There is a loft upstairs. The loft is probably another 1,100 square feet. And that space can be used for storing stuff for weddings, It can be used for the bride or groom to get ready. It's not air conditioned up there, so that kind of deters some people. Yeah. But with fall being kind of the hot time in terms of bookings, not temperature necessarily. Yeah. A lot of brides seem totally fine with getting ready up there. Maybe put a fan up there or whatever. But yeah, so we have 3,600 square feet on the main floor. We have 2 bars in opposite corners of the barn. Those bars are movable, so if you want to move them outside or put them together, you can do whatever. And then we have fans and some really beautiful lights hanging all across the barn, which add a nice touch.
Awesome. I love the barn. It definitely. When was the barn built?
We don't really know. Think about 50-ish years ago.
Okay.
That's kind
really
of
cool. If it was one of those Sears build a kit things, I've seen a few of those. I don't know, but yeah. I'm fascinated. As much as people cry about IKEA furniture, I can't imagine Sears sending you your barn kit and just throwing it up there. But I've seen those. I've seen a few of those.
A good friend of ours bought a house that in their basement had like the kit to build the house, and it like had a name and everything. It was crazy. Sad story.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot more patience then, maybe.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what are your goals for this next year as you kind of navigate through and, manage with your family? And do you guys have like a group meeting after every wedding to just kind of talk about what happened and what you're going to do next time? Like how's the management look and that goal for this coming year?
We meet, we probably will. We don't know yet. We haven't had our first wedding. So we probably will. But I would say our goal is to book enough weddings to break even, at least in terms of paying our mortgage, paying all our bills, paying for our Christmas trees, our labor, everything like that. And I think that's a pretty low goal, truthfully, because I think we're very close to already doing that. So I'd say, truthfully, to have fun and to give a great experience to our guests. I would say that's the goal.
Absolutely. I love that. And I can tell that you're one of the, I haven't met everyone else, but that you have a passion for it. I think people forget, yes, this is an investment and you have to be savvy about it. Yeah. But with regard to weddings, and I would even assume Christmas trees, these are so personal. You have to love them. You have to have memories tied to them and, experiences and understand how valuable the experience is. If you're doing it solely for the investment and you hate all the rest of it, it is going to be bad for everybody involved. I've met a couple of those and, some of them have gotten away with it for a little bit, but they've hated every minute of it and their couples could feel that. And it's just not a great thing. So it's one of the weird industries where you really have to love it and have a passion for it, or delegate it to someone that does. So yeah, exactly. Who meets with the couples when they come out? Do you guys rotate that?
Kind of whoever's available. So I'm a professor, so I'm off for the summers, and my wife is a teacher. So we have a little bit more availability than anyone else. So we do a lot of like the during the day tours, and then weekends, my brothers, it's really kind of all over the place.
So when we do our data collecting, we'll get to figure out who has the best conversion rate. And they'll get saddled with all of the tours. Oh, well, there you go. That means you're going to get all the tours duty. I have a few couples that will tell me, few and far between. Usually it's one or the other when it's a couple. The Clore Brothers is a gorgeous wedding venue on the river in Fredericksburg. And Gene Clore, I met about 10 years ago, and I think he was 70 at the time, and had his like Indiana Jones hat. He's like the Indiana Jones of the wedding industry, just charming and lovely. And he booked brides he loved it. He absolutely loved everything about working with those couples, and his conversion rate might have been like almost 100. He was amazing. So I love it when we find out who has those skills. It just we've got to have another meeting. We're just going to dominate your time with these, like maybe every 3 months, and just follow up, because there is an art to the venue tour and to being great at it and to converting, and then to know your numbers. So that's just a whole topic in and of itself. If you're struggling at the conversion and knowing your numbers, even who's coming through and why they're not booking and all of that, and able to tweak and manage and not take it too personally. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal. Just that piece.
Right. Yeah. It has been fun learning and talking with my siblings of like how do you do it? How do, and kind of figuring out the best strategy. It's been really cool.
I could see a video right now with just the 4 different styles. Like that would be awesome. Are you guys on TikTok yet?
No, we are not.
All right. First TikTok video, 4 styles, the 4 different styles of wedding venue tours from the owners. The one that's like very, analytical, the one that's very romantic and you could do this and that. The one that never shuts up, that'd be me. Never lets the couple talk at all. The one that really kind of listens and gets it, that would be fun, I think. So
that would be fun. You'll
let us know when you have it. We'll share it. We'll put your TikTok in the video, homework for the weekend.
All right. We'll get it done.
So finally, we need to wrap up because we went on longer than usual because you're awesome to listen to and you have so much to share. And I just want can you share one little piece of advice from an amazing expert CPA perspective on what are just maybe one little piece of awesome value from a CPA?
Yeah, absolutely. So my advice when you're getting started is to save proof of everything. Everything you buy, every mile you drive for using your business, every coffee you pick up on your way to a showing, all those things can have a tax implication. And the better records you keep, the way easier it'll be come tax time. So that would be my advice.
Do business owners have to do their taxes quarterly? Can they do them at the end of the year? Is there a preference there?
So it depends on how you file your company. So if we can do another podcast on that.
We definitely will. I don't want to give away too much here. This is a little teaser. This is a teaser reel.
You can do it either way. So generally you would do it at the end of the year.
All right. And then one more quick question. LLCs are the standard. Does that just because it just makes sense and that's what people are being referred to? In your case where you have agriculture and that element, I know that some of our venues are under a homesteaders. So
yep. LLC is the way to go. Once you get into an LLC, you can be taxed as what's called an S Corp or a small corporation or a partnership. A partnership's a little bit easier to manage. If you are a big venue doing a lot in revenue, S Corps are a little more complicated to run in terms of a tax perspective and accounting perspective, but there are a lot more tax benefits.
All right, that's too much already. All right, we got to say some.
Just Crowley CPAs.
Awesome. Crowley's Tree Farm, Crowley CPA, Crowley Street, Crowley Lane, Crowley Library, all of those things to come. Goals.
Yeah,
goals.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm so excited that we got to talk to you today and appreciate your time and all that you have shared with us. For many, many years, we had no way of connecting with each other as wedding venue owners and sharing this information. And I'm thrilled that you have found our Christmas Tree Farm, that you have found our wedding venue owners and managers group. I just added somebody else, I think, from your team. So there's at least 2 Crowley Tree Farms. So I'm looking forward to you being active and sharing. And, I love it when I hear anything that's been helpful or useful. Because a lot of times I don't know, because sometimes people read the blogs and don't post comments.
Make sure you comment, everyone.
Make sure you comment. Throw me a bone. Help me out. It makes my day. Like I literally sit there and do the nerdy happy dance. So also this will be posted on YouTube. So please like and subscribe. I'm going to point in the right directions, the bell, wherever that is. Like and subscribe and share. And then also make sure you're on our email list so that you get this update when I send it out. I'll probably send this out Wednesday or so. Wednesday's a great day. And then we'll just stay tuned and follow along with you. And anyone that is in Ohio should just make the trip and go to Crowley's Tree Farm for the holidays. And then any other event, and do you plan to do any kind of big events throughout the year, any kind of summer thing to get people, aware of the upcoming tree farm type of thing?
Yeah, we hope to do some vendor events in the fall during the week. And then hopefully next spring, we kind of have a community welcome fest where some of our vendors come out, maybe have a band and things like that, free of charge, just to get people out and have some fun.
Community engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Jacob. And I look forward to following along your journey and appreciate you so much sharing your story for Crowley's Tree Farm in Ohio.
Thank you so much, Dee Dee. Talk soon.